Scope is an important concept in programming. Scope is the region of the code where the variable is defined. For example, if we have this function, def greet full colon message equals to A, the scope of the message variable is greet function. I want us to try to use this variable outside the greet function. Like this, and we'll run this. Let's see what happens. So we have this message here. We have this function here, greet, which has the variable message, which is A. Now, when you go outside of the message, then we try printing that message, that variable, we get an error. Look at the error that we get. When we run that, we get message is not defined. This is because we are moving out, we've moved outside the scope of the greet function. The same will apply to the parameters of a function. When we try to use it outside the function, we'll get the same error. The name and message variables are used within the greet function. They are local to the greet function. And I want you to try this. Try this. That's why they are referred to as local functions. That means they do not exist anywhere else. So we have this function, these two variables, that's message and name. We have name here, message equals A, and then we have send mail name, message equals to B. So they are different from each other, even though they have the same name. So this message here is different from this message here because this is local to greet and this is local to send mail. The same thing here, this parameter here, name, is different from this parameter here, name, in the two functions because they are local to each of them. That means if we have two different functions with variables with similar names, they will be completely separate. When we call the function and pass arguments on them, they will be destroyed. There'll be garbage collection, which means Python interpreter will release the memory location that they had used for these variables. They have a short lifetime. Then we have the opposite of local variable, which is the global variable. A global variable is a variable which can be accessed outside a function. Let us make the message variable to a global one. So when we define this, you can see we define message equals to A. We define we define two variables. We have def greet, which is name, and send mail, which has the parameter name. The variable message is now a global variable because it is now outside the function. The scope of message variable is now anywhere in the file. It is for this reason that global variables stay in memory for a longer period of time than local variables. Avoid using global variables as much as possible because of this reason. Try to create a function which have local functions, local variables, and parameters. Try this. If we have, let's try this. We have this, we've defined this message variable outside the scope of the greet function. So then we define the greet function, then we align, we assign message equals to B. So when you run this print message, the message for A will be printed and not the message for that we define in the function. So have a look. We are printing, when we print this, it is running A and not B because this one is outside the scope of this, so it will look for the global variable. So the output is A. This is because we have changed the value of the message in the greet function to B. Not really. The reason is that Python interpreter treats message with the value B as a local variable, even though they have the same name. There are books and tutorials which teach you to modify global variable inside a function. Let me show you. So we have this program here, message equals to A. Then we define a function, greet. So we have the global message. where we prefix this with global keyword, then message equals to B. Then you print message. When you run this program, you will get output of B. This is because the function will not define a local variable, and when you run the program, you will get B because it has modified the global variable. I want us to run this. So when you run this program, you'll get the output B. This because the function will not define a local variable, and when you run the program, you'll get B because it has modified the global variable. So this is not recommended in programming. It's a bad programming practice because the global variable might be used in other functions. So don't modify anyhow. Changing it might have side effects on the computation in other functions. The functions that rely on this global variable might not behave properly. So avoid global variables as much as possible. It is not a Python discussion, it is a debate that has been going on for long. So that is all we can say about local and global variables.